The climb to courage. In the shadow of the towering Mount Eldridge, nestled in a quiet valley, lived a young woman named Lila. She was 24, with a heart full of dreams but a mind clouded by doubt. Lila grew up in a small village where everyone knew each other, and life followed a predictable rhythm. Her parents ran a modest bakery, and Lila helped out, kneading dough and serving customers with a smile. But deep inside, she yearned for something more, something bigger than the familiar streets of her village. Lila's secret dream was to climb Mount Eldridge, the highest peak in the region. It wasn't just its height that drew her, it was the stories. The villagers spoke of the mountain in hushed tones, calling it unconquerable. Only a handful had ever reached its summit, and those who did returned changed, bolder, wiser, as if the mountain had shared its ancient secrets with them. Lila wanted that. She wanted to prove to herself that she could do something extraordinary. But doubt was her constant companion. What if she failed? What if she wasn't strong enough? The villagers, though kind, didn't help. Mount Eldridge is no place for a baker's daughter, they'd say, shaking their heads. It's too dangerous. Stick to what you know. Her parents, too, worried. Why risk it, Lila? Her mother would ask. You have a good life here. Even her best friend, Mara, laughed off the idea. You're not a climber, Lila. You're the girl who burns the bread when she's daydreaming. Lila might have let the dream fade, but one crisp autumn morning, something shifted. She was delivering a batch of rolls to old Mr. Tannen, the village's retired blacksmith, who had a habit of telling wild stories from his youth. As she set the bread on his table, he noticed her gazing out the window toward the mountain. You've got that look, he said, his eyes twinkling. The one that says you're thinking about Eldridge. Lila blushed, caught off guard. It's just a silly dream, she mumbled. Silly? Mr. Tannen snorted. Dreams like that are never silly. I was your age when I tried to climb that beast. Didn't make it, but I learned more on that mountain than I ever did in this village. You want to climb it? Then climb it. But don't expect it to be kind. His words lit a spark in Lila. For the first time, someone hadn't dismissed her dream. That night, she lay awake, her mind racing. The doubts were still there, but so was a new feeling, determination. She decided she would try. She would climb Mount Eldridge, not for the village or her parents, but for herself. The next morning, Lila began preparing. She had no climbing experience, so she started small. She read books about mountaineering, borrowed gear from a traveling trader, and practiced on the smaller hills around the village. She trained her body, running laps at dawn and carrying heavy sacks of flour to build strength. The villagers noticed, and the whispers grew. Lila's lost her mind, they said. She'll never make it. Even Mara tried to talk her out of it. You're going to get hurt, she warned. But Lila kept going, fueled by Mr. Tannen's words and her own quiet resolve. Months passed, and the day of the climb arrived. Lila stood at the base of Mount Eldridge, her pack heavy with supplies, her heart pounding. The mountain loomed above her, its peak hidden in clouds. She felt small, but she took her first step anyway. The early part of the climb was manageable, rocky paths and gentle slopes. She moved steadily, her training paying off. But as the day wore on, the terrain grew treacherous. The air thinned, and the wind howled, stinging her face. Doubt crept back in. What am I doing here? She thought. I'm not a climber. By the second day, Lila faced her first real test. A steep, icy wall that seemed impossible to scale. Her hands trembled as she gripped her ice axe. She remembered the books she'd read, the techniques she'd practiced, but theory was one thing, reality was another. She slipped, her foot catching just in time to stop a fall. Her heart raced, and for a moment, she considered turning back. The village was safe. The bakery was warm. But then she thought of Mr. Tannen, who hadn't reached the summit but had tried. She thought of the stories of those who had succeeded. She wanted to be one of them. Lila took a deep breath and tried again. She moved slowly, methodically, driving her axe into